see Al has joined us.
Well, I see Al's name. I don't see his picture yet.
Yeah. Well, I just think Robert has such a nice interior there. The nice stairway leading to the second floor, and we have the arched window. Very nice.
Lets in the perfect amount of light.
And I meant to tell Lazaro that, you were teasing about that being Don. We're talking about Don being behind. I was the female behind him running, and I was just about ready to overtake him when he had that slide up. I just wanted to say that.
I think you did take him right before the finish line, Patty.
I think so.
And glad everyone is joining us today. It is about 12:16, so I want to welcome everyone to the April 23rd meeting of your Irving Los Colinas Rotary Club. I never anticipated a year ago that we would be sitting here looking at a computer screen for Rotary, but we're glad you're here, and thank you for making the commitment to be part of the Rotary meetings. We're going to start our meeting today with the prayer by Shane Webb. I also asked Shane to just make a few comments for all of us. I'm sure that most all of you know that Richard Huff passed away this weekend. So Shane, update us on anything there and then lead us in prayer if you would.
Absolutely. Thank you, Robert. Yes, Richard Huff died on Saturday. And as we heard earlier, those that were on, arrangements are being made for a later date for any kind of memorial service. But we do want to lift up his family in our prayers. And as we get more details in the future, we'll make sure to share them with everybody. So friends, if you would pray with me. Heavenly Father, we come to you humbled this day for all that is happening in our country and around the world. God, we ask that you would be our help and you would be our provider during these difficult times. God, help us continue to lead in service as more people are losing jobs and coming into need. God, we need to be your people that reach out with helping hands to make sure everybody has the best chance to survive and thrive. And God, as we continue in these times, we lift up those who are struggling in health, for those who have contracted the virus, and God, for all those who are suffering from the consequences of not only the virus, but the way that it is affecting the economy. God, we pray for the family of Richard Huff, and we ask that we would be comforted by your Spirit in his passing. And God, we thank you for the many ways that we have seen you present, for the ways that people are sharing with others in this time of need, for the spirit of generosity that is being passed around. And God, as opportunities arise for us, may we also rise to the occasion. And we pray these things in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. Well, you should have a flag on your screen. Jerry Hicks is going to lead us in the pledge. So if you'll place your hand over your heart, Jerry, lead us in the pledge.
Let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America
and to the
republic for which it stands,
one
nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well done. Well, Jordan, can you put the screen back up so I can see all the participants? We were trying to get Neil and Sandra connected with our Zoom meeting today. I'm trying to look to see. There's Max has joined us, but I don't see Neil and Sandra. They were going to try to lead us in song. Their son Blake was going to try to help them get connected. So we may have to try that again next week. But in lieu of that, I think Jordan has the Rotary song queued up for us. So Join on out, sir. Are you going to be a nice man for the Christmas play, or? All right. Well, let's do the Rotary song. Your mics are off, but you can sing along, and we'll enjoy that together. All right, Jordan. We'll move on to the introduction of visiting Rotarians and guests. So I'm looking to see if we have any visiting. I don't think we do. Anybody got your grandkids there with you, or your neighbor? Lazaro's the only one that's got a guest, huh? So I'm glad everybody's here. Magnus, since you're here, I didn't give you a heads up on this, but would you take a moment and just update us on what's going on with our students and schools and just anything we need to be aware of there? So welcome, Magna. We're glad you're here.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. You know, I'm actually almost, you know, always ready just to share some, you know, things with you all. You know, definitely we're going through, you know, all of us trying times. We miss our kids terribly. We definitely wish we could get them back as soon as possible, but we are very fortunate that, you know, Irving has been leading the way in so many things, you know, even just on how we take care of our kids. We issued, you know, all their technology devices about 2 weeks now. I mean, it just feels like it's been forever. You know, and I know before we went on spring break, this all hit right when we started our spring break. But before we left, we were already proactive and thinking, you know, ahead. What if we do have to close? Let's get ready so our kids don't lose a day of, you know, instruction. And we were, but yet, you know, we had students that were absent. So then we had to make sure we took care of them when they returned. So, you know, I wish I could say that all our kids have internet access. We hear, you know, here and there that not all of them have it, you know, because although there's so many internet providers out there that started saying, you know, we'll offer free internet, but there were so many stipulations, you know, tied to it. Like if they owed or they didn't pay their bill or they didn't, then they wouldn't get the service. So I'm going to tell you, I have been very involved with the North Texas Commission, you know, as well. I had a meeting with them last week, and they are putting together a group to push for free internet access across the state, you know, because this is how the world really looks like now. Everyone is connected. So why is it being charged? You know, so just, you know, when we talk about equality, you know, for our students, this doesn't show, you know, equality when some have it and some don't. So we're really working behind the scenes and making sure that happens. It looks like we're making progress on that. Also, you know, actually last week when you all were having this meeting, I had attended a workforce solutions meeting because I don't know if you're aware, but Judge Clay Jenkins had appointed me to the workforce solutions board about a year ago. You know, just a lot of talk about what that looks like. And even our students, you know, our seniors, they all received a survey from the Dallas County Promise. And out of 2,000 surveys that were sent, 900 came back saying that our seniors were in need of jobs because their parents are losing their jobs and now they're having to help provide for them. You know, and yesterday when I had my superintendent advisory council with one of my groups, it was heartbreaking. You know, it was just heartbreaking to hear, you know, their stories. I gave them 3 things to talk about, you know, their challenges during this time and how we can help, their lessons learned, and just some words of encouragement. I'm going to tell you, out of 20 students, 18 of them are having to work. And that just broke my heart. So, you know, I think education is not going to look the same when we come back. Definitely, we're going to have to really be, you know, aware that although this is already happening in our schools, but we're seeing it now, more so now than ever. So, you know, definitely very connected with the commissioner. And we talk to him about 3 times a week. And, you know, how is the accountability system even going to look like for us? Because although our teachers are doing an incredible job staying connected with our kids, there's definitely going to be a fallback, you know, on that. So again, very powerful group, the Texas School Alliance. I'm on that board, working on asking for a reset of the accountability system, you know, coming up, because there's no way many of our students are gonna, you know, catch up. But we are looking at how reopening will look for us. You know, if we can't return all at once, you know, my concern is we have over 33,000 students. If we bring them all, then, you know, when there's no vaccine or none of that available, it's going to be a challenge for us. So, you know, I think more than ever, it's going to be very important that we all, you know, stay connected and work together. I know you've been very supportive of the district, you know, and as more things arise and I hear the need, you know, of course, I'm like, how can we help our students? One that shared, she was so devastated. She said, I was saving money for a car. It was $700. And she said, and now I had to give it to my parents to buy, you know, groceries or pay bills. It just, I got a headache after, you know, I met with them, because like they shouldn't have to be going through that, you know. So we're just, you know, blessed and trying to do everything that we can to stay engaged with them and support them as much as we can. So, you know, a lot of great things still happening. Our kids, I just right before the meeting, the mariachi band from Travis sent me their mariachi virtual, and they did incredible. So we're about to post that on social media. The news are getting, you know, our attention. We just posted a self-portrait from one of our students that she did. I don't know if you all have seen it. She drew her, you know, herself with chalk and sent me a quote last night, how COVID-19 is all going to disappear, just like the chalk will. So, you know, just trying to get our kids engaged, but they're still being recognized. NBC5 already gave her a shout out. So again, our kids are incredible. Our teachers are incredible, but we just need to forget, you know, that we do not forget that we care a lot about them, and we're trying to send them as many positive messages as we can. So I appreciate all of you for, you know, just your continued support in trying to reach out to families that are less fortunate than many of us, and helping them provide food for their kids. You know, Irving is still very committed to providing food for our students. I was at one of our campuses yesterday and just saw, you know, families thanking us for still, you know, feeding them, and they're taking their big bags, you know, of food for them. So, you know, just, you know, it's hard times, but we're still doing some good things for our kids, and they're trying to stay positive as well. So again, I love what I do. You know, definitely never thought, all of us in education never thought we signed up for this, but yes, we did. You know, we continue to serve our kids as much as we can. And again, you know, I'm here if any of you have any questions, or just have any ideas on what we can do as a city or as a community. We have a great community that has stepped up and reached out to us and seeing how they can help. So again, very blessed to be part of this group, and thank you so much for what you're doing also, even behind the scenes.
Thank you. Last week we announced to you we'd given a grant to the Irving Schools Foundation and also to Crisis Ministries to help with food distribution. John Eastwood, you have any words you want to share as far as the food distribution there at Crisis Ministries over the last week? Got to unmute your mic there, John, or Jordan will do it for you. There we go.
I'm not sure if Eastwood wants to say anything because he doesn't volunteer down there. As nice a guy as he is. But yes, I just repeat what I said last week. You know, we're feeding or sending groceries to probably 500 or 600 families a week, enough to last them for 2 weeks, and they can come back every 2 weeks. The check that we got, I said this earlier, and you were off trying to solve technical difficulties, but the check from Rotary was enough to provide groceries for 200 families for about 2 weeks.
Wow.
It's about 50 pounds a family, and based on the cost of our food. And so it was not only appreciated, but it was needed.
Well, John, we thank you for doing that, and want to give a shout out to Max Duplan, who's on there, and to the district for really partnering with us to make that happen. So thank you, Max, and appreciate your leadership in that. Before we get to our speaker here in just a moment, Bob Bourgeois, we've been seeing a lot of people respond to our flags. So any update that you have or anything you want to share with us about flags?
No, actually, Lindy and Rick Lindsay have been handling most of that. Lindy, we finally got the email account for the voicemails and for the emails that, so Lindy has access to all of those now. So there is some backlog that we have to help her take care of. But other than that, I keep seeing the orders flash across my screen every time one comes in. So I don't know what we're up to, but I'm going to guess that we're somewhere between 600 and 700 now. So, and Rick Lindsay has arranged with Bill Baxter, the software guy, to send out about every 10 days a reminder. So hopefully we'll get back to that 1450 that we ended last year with.
If I can
And Shane put up a message that he's got a bunch of corks for you for the tops of those flags. So just you want to remind everybody else what we're needing those for, Bob?
Yes, we need the corks to put in the top of the flag poles to keep the rain out. And yes, there should be no excuse after this pandemic retreat. We should have more corks than we'll ever need.
Can I add something about the flags? I got a call from our bank yesterday, and they requested that all checks be made out to our Rotary Club and not to the flag program. They said they weren't going to accept them anymore that way, and I explained to them that we would have a hard time controlling that. So hopefully they will still process the checks if they're made out to the flag program. But if you're promoting the program in any way, please encourage the checks to be made out to our club.
Yeah, I think all that flyer material has already gone out. We're not going to be able to change that this year, but I'll get by the bank and take care of, or I'll call Brad Durham to see if Brad can encourage the bank to process the checks, all right? But thank you for bringing that to our attention there. Well, we have a great speaker, very timely speaker today, Chris Dobson. Where are you on the screen at, Chris? You keep moving around on me, but Chris is going to do a virtual introduction of our speaker, and then we'll let him take it away. So, Chris?
Thank you, Robert. A few months ago, I thought that this might be a good topic. There was a lot that was going on as far as security and computers. And so I asked Alicia, the head of IT for the city, if she could come and speak to us, and she said no, she had somebody who was better than she was. And so that's Eric, and he graciously agreed to speak to us, and so I'm not going to take any more of his time, but thank you for coming, Eric, and welcome.
Well, thank you for that, Christine, and thank everybody for taking for the invitation. And hopefully, at the end of this presentation, we will have some, added some value and help to make each of our online presence safer. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Hopefully, that'll work out okay. And from there, I think you should be able to see an introduction page. Is that Everybody thumbs up? Yep, okay. So first of all, kind of who's who at the zoo. I just wanted to give some information about, who I am and why, I'm, I guess, able to make this presentation. So I am the Information Security Officer for the city of Irving. I've been there for a little over a year. I was brought in by Leisha to actually create and formalize the security program for the entire city. So it's been a very interesting year. We've made a lot of progress in it. A lot of little acronyms after my names, but I've been in the information security realm for about 20 years, most of that being in the private sector. I have a little thing, please silence your phone, but I think it's more applicable at this point than, I guess, mute your speaker or your microphone, but I think Jordan's got us covered. So let's talk about what I'm going to overview today. I don't have about 30 minutes allocated, so I may have to go a little fast, but I just want to also provide some options for Q&A. So the first part, we're going to talk about antiviruses, patching, and how to protect your systems, and then password vaults and passwords. We're going to go into scams and phishing and how people are impacting users, and then backups. How do we safely store those information so it's not impacted? And then I want to talk about disinformation, our elections, and specifically now the amount we're seeing through the coronavirus, unfortunately, the scams that are coming out for that. So what is this presentation? It is called the Seniors Edition, but I don't want anybody to get, it's Senior Edition, but it contains valid information for all age groups. This particular presentation is an outreach for one of the organizations that I'm certified through called ISC Squared. And they're the ones that there's about 150 cybersecurity professionals that got together to create this presentation. So again, it's been by the cyber safety and education portion of that. I want to be very clear. There's a thing called FUD. It's called fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And it's sometimes a way of people getting what they want. They create this anxiety. That is not the expectation here. So on the left-hand side, I just kind of show somebody going, oh my goodness, I'm never going to get to the internet again. The world's a bad place. That's not what we're going to do today. We're going to provide awareness, tools, education, and ammunition for you, everyone here, to have takeaways to safely do online business and transactions. So first of all, let's talk about how people use the internet. How do you do it? And in your mind, kind of think about a day in the life of our connected world. Your people, especially with now Zoom meetings and all those things for interaction, both with family and work and organizations like this. Shopping and banking right now, Amazon and Walmart delivery services are a lifeline for food and for resources for people who are safe and secure at home. So these kind of other things, what is it you do on a daily basis? I'm going to be using some terminology, not to try to, overwhelm, but also just to gain some common verbiage or vernacular so we all know what's going on. So what malware is, it's a malicious software that is installed on your computer that does bad things. Most of the time when you know that malware is installed, it's because it went wrong. The intent of malware is to stay installed under the radar and you don't see it. It's like a virus, it's there to spread. A phishing, you've probably heard this terminology before, is where they will send out emails requesting you to take some type of action, click a link, download an attachment, and that's how they get into your computer or your network. There's a joke that says there is no cloud, it's just your data on other people's computers. I don't understand why in the last 5 or 6 years it's called cloud. It's the internet. It really is, and I'm saying that with kind of air quotes. It does have some distinguishing factors, but think of the cloud as the internet. Wi-Fi, it's a way of connecting wirelessly from your computer, your tablet, your phone, out to the internet. Now, also in this Wi-Fi, we need to speak about, if you have a cellular device, it usually connects either through the Wi-Fi automatically, or it's going to connect through the AT&T, Verizon, actual And what an app is, it's just a program. Normally that app is associated with mobile devices. So the first thing that I think, the first line of defense that you can have against bad things happening is getting some type of antivirus. Most antiviruses have a free version, although it's a step down, right? So the features and functionality may not be as verbose as if you had a pay subscription. But in my personal opinion, I believe that there's certain things that are kind of what I call table stakes. Go ahead and spend the $35, $45 a year and get yourself something. You know, we've got a plethora. People have asked me often which one's better, and I would just tell you that the market levels itself out. So Symantec, McAfee, Malwarebytes, AVG, all of these antiviruses are fairly similar, right? So as soon as one gets a update to protect you against a certain attack, the others are going to follow in suit, and most of the time within hours, if not days. So your preference, do research. Some of the things that you can look at is feedback and comments on their different forums. But definitely, you should never, ever go on the internet without some type of antivirus protection. And even Windows 10 has it integrated. I've been asked before, or I've made a statement before, and Mr. Zapata's probably heard this from me. If you could give me two things, I can make the city or a particular environment almost 95+% secure, just with two things. One, keeping the systems updated and patched, and keeping our user base educated and aware. At the end of the day, information security is not a technology issue, it's a people issue. I can implement all the technology in the world, but one single click on a phishing email attack could circumvent it all. And I'll give you an example. If you've ever heard of a gentleman named Edward Snowden. Edward Snowden is now in Russia, and he has been identified either as a hero or a traitor, but he revealed how, excuse me, the NSA was monitoring all American citizens, which is illegal. He was hosted in the National Security Administration, the most secure of the secure bunkers in the world. And yet he was still able to get data out and post it on the internet. So there's an example of the United States with all its power and all its security still couldn't maintain and contain that data. If somebody wants to get it out, it will get it out. When you do updates though, the Windows 10 or Windows whichever environment usually has an auto update feature. Please use that. Get it automatically downloaded and even automatically installed if needed. However, there's other software on your computer that needs updates. You'll see maybe Adobe, Java, your browser, all your software, and certainly your antivirus. Just keep those up to date. If you don't know how to do that, as a city employee, I can't advocate a certain solution, but there's many out there. Like Best Buy has their Geek Squad, but that was just one example. There's many out there. Some people say, hey, you know, my nephew, he comes over, he's the Jordan of this, you know, Jordan's supporting here, you know, but it's that person who you know that is able to help set that up for you. So I would like, if it's okay, Robert, to open it up for questions. Just going to pause for a moment. Does anybody have anything in the chat session or any questions about what we just talked about, antivirus or patching? Seeing none, Robert, thumbs up, we'll continue, right? Okay, so the next best thing, and I'm gonna share something that, again, our councilman, when I came into the city, we were using an 8-character password, and that was considered for many, many years the golden standard. But I will tell you that it is no longer, as computers got more powerful, people got more intelligent, 8 characters just did not cut it. So I wanted to increase our passwords into passphrases, which I'll talk about in a minute. And in order to see how easily it was to compromise passwords, in a city council meeting, I actually brought up a Windows 7 device, attacked it, downloaded all the encrypted passwords and decrypted them. And I think it was like in 8 seconds. So I was actually able to completely compromise a Windows computer that had 8 password characters and actually reveal them. And I will tell you, it was less than 10 seconds. That should be concerning to those who have their password as password123. Let me make some comments. One of the phishing attacks that I see very common here at the city is a perpetrator or a threat actor will go out online to the dark web and purchase the password list from a known compromise, like the Yahoo, or there was the, even one of the credit reporting agencies. So they'll download all these passwords and they'll send out a phishing attack to a victim or thousands or millions of victims. Hey, here's your password. I know what you've been doing. If you do not send me Bitcoin, I'm going to, email all those bad things you've been doing, videos and all to all your people. Well, since it is normal, and I would say it's good, but it's normal for people to reuse passwords, think about that for a moment. When I log into my bank and I don't have any two-factor authentication, I'm logging in with my email address, which is commonly known, and that password. If I use that password across multiple things, my Yahoo password could be used to compromise me. So in that case, I will let you know that most of the time, it's not because they know that your password, they haven't been logging in, they haven't been viewing you, they're just trying to get you to react. So what is a passphrase? A passphrase is a sentence. I love my grandkids. Eric is a great guy, exclamation point. If you do a passphrase, it's going to be significantly more secure than a password. It's going to be absolutely longer. It's spaces, it's explanation points. It's very easy to remember. If I simply say, I love information security, explanation point, that is 30 some characters. There's no way I'd be able to remember a 30 plus character password, but in passphrases, very easy. A lyric, a saying you like, a song you like, those type of things. In your banking, it's also very important to use two-factor authentication. And what that means is something you know, something you have, or something you are. So a thumbprint on your cell phone. It's when you log into your bank, you get a text message, you have to put a code in. That's two-factor authentication. Most financial institutions have it. Please enable it. If you do not know how, contact your bank, your financial institution. So another thing is don't reuse passwords, and don't use passwords that are easy to break, like ABC123. But this is the most, I would say, the best value. And again, like antivirus, my recommendation is pay the $30, $40 and get yourself what's called a password vault. And let me explain why password vaults are just so amazing. I have one, and what happens is I log into it in the morning with a passphrase, extremely long, and it's encrypted with the same encryption strength that hackers use for a ransomware. It cannot be decrypted. Then, once it's logged in, it will sit in the background, and every time I go to a website, every time I try to open up an app, it auto-fills my login and password. Those passwords, I don't even know what they are. They're encrypted and secure within that password vault, and they are randomly generated, 26 characters. I ask, that's funny, is my kids say, hey, Dad, can I get the login to Netflix? And I'm like, well, sure you can. It's tilde ampersand 794. I don't even know what that character is. Explanation point, right? So it's kind of funny, but it is so important to have that password vault. You don't have to remember them. It stores in a secure location. And here's the thing. If you go to and click a link in an email, say you do it, not recommending it, and that URL that you're clicking is a bad URL, but is made to look like a good one. So it's G0OGLE for Google. Well, when you click on it, your password vault isn't going to autofill it because that password is for Google, not for G0GLE. So another thing and the one I use is called Dashlane, DASHLANE. Again, I'm not advocating as a city employee. It's just one that I've been using for over 15 years. it also provides me threat intelligence. When I log in and I use my passphrase in the morning, it comes up and says, hey, Eric, these 3 websites have been compromised. Would you like to change your password for them because they're out in the dark web? Yes, I would. And it automatically saves them. So if I could give you any 2 seriously takeaways from this entire presentation: 1, get your antivirus, back it up. Please back it up. And then 2, absolutely please use a password vault. Using those 2 things. So education is important, but these password vaults and the antivirus are going to save you a significant amount of a headache and heartache. And by the way, the Dashlane that I use actually syncs to my cell phone. So the passwords, if I change them on my computer, will automatically change on my cell phone. And again, it's synced through all my apps. So I know I kind of threw that, but also I wanted to take a chance to pause again and see if there are any questions about, so I'm going to try to do this in a fashion here.
Hey, Eric.
If anybody have any questions?
Eric, this is Jerry Hicks. Do you have a couple of names of password vault companies that you would recommend?
So from an Eric Yancy perspective, I think that the Dashlane, the Dashlane product is extremely verbose and one that I would recommend. And here's another thing. My father has dementia. He used to store his passwords in an Excel spreadsheet. By using a password vault, it allows him his continued independence without having to memorize anything. So having that passphrase in a minute, he can remember a sentence sometimes, right? But he can't remember passwords. So that's another advantage. So I would say Dashlane, but if you Google password vaults or password wallets, you'll see there's a lot of organizations that rate them, like Consumer Reports. But my personal experience over 15 years is Dashlane. Any other questions? Okay, let me just jump on into the next phase. Open Wi-Fi or openness wireless. This is where your laptop, your tablet, your cell phone will automatically connect. A lot of stores right now actually have the ability for you to connect to their Wi-Fi and not use your data. Kind of nice. But let me explain something that happened to me firsthand. I used Sam's Club, their Click and Go. They had an app that on my phone, I scanned the products as I put them into my basket at Sam's. Oh, no, yes, it was Sam's Club. And at the end, I just checked out virtually on my cell phone and walked right to the gate. Never had to stand in line. I loved it, and I'm a geek. Well, I got a contact from Sam's Club fraud, and they said, "Sir, we're seeing some weird, interactions." I went online and I saw somebody tried to make a purchase of a case of baby powder for like $100 and some, and they tried 3 times and failed. Tried 1 time and succeeded, and now for the 5th time they were trying to get in. So I was like, no, that's not my transaction. They voided the transaction. Everything happened. I was like, wow, somehow my online login got compromised, but I never used their website. So I was, so whatever. So there was a one-off. The next time I went in, same thing happened. They tried to make a purchase. It got blocked. And at that point, I recognized it was the Wi-Fi at the Sam's Club had gotten compromised, so that when I submitted my transaction at the end to purchase it, it sent my login ID, my password, and it sent it out in clear text. The user was using that to log in, to change the delivery address, and since it was, I saved my payment online as a default, with the last 4, it was charging my card. They never had to use my card. I explained it to the manager. I had to explain it to their online. Nobody believed me. And just to let you know, baby powder is cut with cocaine to make it actually, spread it out. So they'll put like 3 ounces of cocaine with baby powder so that when they snort it or smoke it, they just make more money. So here's a potential drug den, and nobody would believe me. Well, finally, they updated their application and made it such it was encrypted. but that Wi-Fi connection was compromised and was costing a significant amount of money. So point is this: your Wi-Fi, keep it, understand that open Wi-Fi is can be compromised, and everything you do is clear text. So don't auto connect, avoid banking, avoid checking. But here's the thing, I've got a magic bullet for you. A way you can use Wi-Fi that will protect you. And it is called VPN, Virtual Private Network. And what that is, and by the way, Dashlane has a VPN for free. So it will, every time you connect to a Wi-Fi, it'll connect a VPN. And this is what a good example of it. A free Wi-Fi is like a pipe, and it's a clear pipe. You can see the things that are going through it, the water, the oil in the pipe. What a VPN does is it creates like a white PVC pipe so that you can see the pipe, but you don't know what's in it. That's a basic example of what a VPN is. You don't have to be a techno geek. In Dashlane, it literally says set up VPN so that it connects and secures your connections. So if you are going to do Open VPN at the library, at your different events and venues or conferences, please use a VPN. If not, Dashlane something. Okay, so online shopping. You should never click any link, and your bank is not going to ask you to do certain things online. It's just not something that happens. So first, if you're not using a password vault, you should be, but if you're not, you set up a password that you only use for that bank account. Don't use it for anything else. And recognize that people will create fake websites, and so when you log in, you put in your user ID and password, they will give you an error message, hey, I'm sorry, and then redirect you to your real banking account. So what happens is the first time you log in, you're like, oh, I must have, whatever. And then when you log in again, it actually gets you to your valid website because it redirected you. What they've gotten now is they've captured your login and password, and then they will go ahead and go through. So what I say is manually cut and paste or manually enter, bankofamerica.com. Do not click a link in an email. Don't click an attachment saying it's from your bank. Another thing is this. Most financial institutions have that two-factor authentication I was talking about. If they don't, I would request it or seriously consider another financial institution. Two-factor authentication is considered, well, passwords are not considered secure anymore. The two-factor authentication is a minimal standard right now. So that's something to consider. Okay, so make sure the site you're accessing is real. Don't click it, and don't always question things when you get them in an email. Why are they asking for this? And by the way, it's not limited to email. People are now doing phone calls. Instead of phishing, it's called smishing and vishing. So there's other terminology, but basically they'll make a phone call to you and say, hi, we're your bank. Can you confirm your account number or your login or something along those lines? So one of the things I intend to do here is give you ammunition to stop being a victim of a scam. I'm going to tell you again, information security is not a technology issue, it's a people issue. And most scams, most compromises require the user to take an action. It doesn't just happen on its own, it's people. So they delve into psychology, what makes something urgent. So if you guys are in sales, there's three things for a sales pitch. Why do something? Why do something now? And why do something with me? Those are it's salesmanship 101. So what they're going to do is they're going to say, why do something? They're going to create an emergency. They're going to create some type of anxiety that's going to make you want to do something. Then why do something now? Well, your grandson is in prison. You're going to lose all your money. There's a fake emergency or prize. So why do something now? Create urgency. And then they're going to give you an option for you to actually go ahead and basically shoot yourself in the foot. Some examples: emergency, promises, prizes, investments, deceptive monies orders. And we're talking about people getting their entire life savings gone and no way of returning it. So there is very, very important when you look at scams. So what are we going to do to protect ourselves against this? Well, I guess, I'm sorry, the presentation goes in, what are some of the different types of scams? Hey, I want to support you. I'm from Microsoft. You need to update your system, those kind of things. So this is going to stay in the presentation. I'm not going to read it to you, but computer cold calling scams. Never, ever. I love this. When they call you, thank you for that information. I will contact you. I'll call back. Hang up, go to the website, look at their support number and call them. Don't ever let them, don't go ahead and say, because they called you to initiate that kind of thing. One of the most scariest things that I have, the information security world has, and certainly the city's leadership has, and I've been told many times, don't be Atlanta, don't be, Baltimore, don't be, New York. And I'm talking about police vehicles being compromised and bricked and unable to maintain connections. I'm talking about, and we know the stories about ransomware, but there's certain things that we got to understand about ransomware is, my role within the city is to never have the leadership team have to make the decision whether to pay or not pay the ransom. And that is a business decision. It's not a technical decision. So, but people that are victims of ransomware on their own, the personal ones, I'm going to tell you a brief story because I'm trying to keep to the 30 minutes. I know that I'm jumping kind of short, but there was this is firsthand knowledge. There was a company that was compromised with ransomware. They had 5 servers that they wanted 10,000 apiece to basically give them the key to unencrypt it. The company decided to pay. They paid the ransom, and the key was provided. 4 of the 5 servers came back online unencrypted, but the 5th server was it was corrupted. The compromise, they could not get it back. I'm not making this up. The bad guys refunded $10,000 to that city with an apology. Sorry that we couldn't help you. Here's your money back. Let me give some, I know that the FBI says don't pay, but here's the thing. Or don't pay because you won't get your data back. The dark web works on reputation. And if you do not have a good reputation, nobody's going to ever pay you again. So they have a call center that has one of the best first-time resolutions. They're very happy. I'm so sorry that you got ransomed. Please, give us the Bitcoin so we can get you back online very quickly. It's surreal. They have call centers, a marketing campaign. They have technical support. It is a multi-billion-dollar business. This is not some hacker in a basement. This is a country. So recognize that ransomware is very real. It is almost impossible to get back without a key. That's why backing up your devices is your only protection, okay? Here's the old, I'm a prince, give me money, or, hey, I need to get money out of a country, please help me out. Again, just delete them, they're bogus. The traveler scam, this is not as prevalent anymore. It used to be about 3 or 4 years ago. Hey, I'm calling on behalf of so-and-so, or they're going to send you an email or a text message. Hey, I'm lost, or I'm in a country and they need me to pay to get out. So this is what you can do. First and foremost, remember what I said, a sense of anxiety and a sense of urgency. Stop, count to 10, collect your thoughts, remain calm. Then think to yourself, is this real? Is this make sense? And if you have any doubt, that's when you start asking questions. If they say that your password is compromised, or you see that email is talking about where, here's your password, we're going to expose you, you should always change your passwords anyway. If you have been compromised, start making a list. What was the website? What data did you provide to that website? Was it social security number? Was it just your Twitter account? That type of thing. Start documenting the communication between them and you so they can be used for an investigation. If you're not already, you should always have a credit report available. That link that I have right now is the valid one. There are scams out there. Here, we'll do it for you for a cost. It is free, annually, one-time free. But in most cases, you've been compromised about 7 to 10 times in a year. So you probably have it through Home Depot, through, the whatever, Yahoo, or all those companies that have been compromised, they offer it to you for free. So this is the three that I have up here. The last one is ic3.gov, and it is the Federal Bureau of Investigation's Internet Crime Complaint Center, right there in the middle, file complaint, okay? So there you have the ability to notify the FBI, and the FBI is one of the organizations that is going to investigate. You may know this, many people don't. The primary protection of white-collar crime and the counterfeit money is the Secret Service. They actually, their primary role is finance, not protecting the president. Ironically, it was President Lincoln who signed that into law for protecting the city. I'm sorry, the president, right before he was assassinated. So it was it was something he put into law right before he got assassinated. So anyway, the IC3.gov will help you out. The Texas Attorney General as well. And then there's fraud guides out and available for you. So I know I blew through that again. Questions about scams and basically the different types of phishing or way they can attack you. All right. In the spirit of rushing through this, I'm talking like an auctioneer. Let's talk about good hygiene that you can use to keep you safe. Again, 90-some% of all vulnerabilities happen through an email. Think about it. That is your front door to the internet. So, yes, there are text messages, there's other things, but most of them come from an email. So never never click hyperlinks. Copy them and paste them into a browser and then look at them. Is that URL look right? Is it, misspelled? Do you see a little alert that says it's not a secure site? So never send it as sensitive information. Email is clear text. And then also, I know that I do this in Yahoo. It keeps me logged in for my email. Well, here's the problem. Yahoo makes their money through advertisements. And just today I received an alert that there was a group that have compromised ad placement agencies and put up fake ads that all you do is you need to open them and they'll connect to your Yahoo email because you are in Yahoo. So when you go to the Yahoo website, you connect to about 800 links. You may not know it, but every single picture, every single hyperlink there, every advertisement is a different website. And some of them can be malicious. And if you automatically logged into your email account, your Yahoo account, you could certainly be in trouble. We talked about phishing. They, just basically stop, think, don't be a victim of malicious. Sensitive information should not be shared in an email. Here's an example I have of different red flags. Okay, so so we got a document, new password. Here we go. It was changed. There's a link, but if you hover over that, it says yourbank.com is what you see, but it's actually click here. You're not your bank. And another thing is an expiration. So all these things create a sense of urgency for you and try to get you to click something. Always question what you see. So this is another one of the, hey, we have an update to your computer, blah, blah, blah. So even when you see something and it looks like it's from a valid website, it may not be. So don't click on it. Open up your antivirus, anti-malware, open it up and do a scan independently. Don't rely on an email that has this pop-up coming. Safe email practices. Again, I don't really know how to see why I'm presenting all the questions. So if you do, please unmute your mic and just interrupt me.
Eric, we're kind of beyond our normal meeting time. So I know you've got great information there, but I may need to let them view the rest of that through the handouts that you sent out. Any maybe final takeaways that you want to make sure that we remember from this presentation?
Yes, so what I'm seeing right now as the security officer for the city is a huge influx of coronavirus scams. click here for information, click here for the cure, click, 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 click. I would just say as a final note is all the things that I just spoke about kind of roll into, that's the latest attack. It used to be the elections, right? It used to be foreign states making these things. So I would just say to this group, please patch your systems, get an antivirus, use a password vault, don't click on links in an email. You should be fine. And I do apologize. It's so hard. This is an 1.5-hour presentation, so I did try to throw it in as quick as possible. I just want to tell everybody, these handouts, basic protection tips, password tips, and how to shop online are all available and have been emailed to you. So thank you again for all your time. It was an honor and a blessing. And I stop. Oops, I don't want to share my screen. So thank you very much. And
thank you, Eric. Great job. We'll all do a virtual clap for you. Before we do our four-way test, I do want to acknowledge that Kathy Howard joined us for the meeting today. So Kathy, we're glad you're on the virtual Rotary meeting. So say hi to all your friends.
Oh, nice.
Kathy, we're glad you're there. Well, I know we're past time, so we're going to jump right in and let Richard Raymond lead us in the four-way test. So Richard.
Would you please join me in a four-way test of the things we think, say, or do? 1.
Is it
the truth?
Number 2.
Is it fair to all concerned?
Number 3.
Build goodwill and better relationships.
Number 4.
Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Well, thank you to each of you. So good to see you. Magna, glad you can join us today. Is Kathy still on the screen? There she is. Kathy, welcome. We're glad you and Clint could sit in on the meeting. We're going to be doing this 2 more weeks at least. And so we have 2 more great programs. So we try to open the meetings at 11:30. So if you want to get on early and chat with some of the people that you hadn't seen, you'll be able to do that. Your mics will be unmuted so you can talk to anybody on the screen. But we're going to adjourn for today. Thanks for staying a little bit past. Eric, great program. Thank you again.
Excellent.
And we'll see everybody next Thursday.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Be safe.
Peace, y'all.
Thanks to all of you.